Now let's look at the average way of earning money. We work all month and we get paid once a month. Does that sound like a good flow to you? You should be receiving money several times a day, like you receive food and water. You drink several times, you eat several times, and you give it all back several times a day also. Children just go and ask for money every time they want something. Every time they dream of having something. They dream that they live in an abundant reality. So you should also receive money several times a day and buy something with it several times a day. Now that would be a good flow. And you don't even need to receive a lot of money each time because you only need it for a short period of time. Right after that, you'll be receiving money again, right? Can you imagine eating all the food of 1 month in one only meal? Or drinking all the water at once? Instead, imagine you would receive €1 each time you breathe in. Do you have any idea how many times you breathe in each day? You would even be earning money while you sleep. But remember, you give all that air back. You can't keep it. So the ecosystem always has air available, and food and water. It just flows through you and goes back again. So you see now? Money is about flow, not about arithmetic value. And to think that there are people that say, I have a lot of money. How can you have money? In order to have, you must be able to hold. Can you hold air? Just to say I have air, you would need to release some. And the same happens with holding money. You have to pay a fortune for someone to keep your money safe. So it just flows anyway, doesn't it? Because it's the nature of money, to flow. Again, let's look at something else. Can you buy fruit from trees? Can you buy milk from cows? Money is a human concept. We can't use it with the rest of nature. Interesting, isn't it? Money can only flow through our human relations. Our employer gives us money, and we give money to our employees. We buy fruit at the market with money, but we have to buy it from a seller, from a person. You see the point here? Our money flow is directly related to our relations network, our circle of relations. Remember from the video Who We Are? The more people we know, the more people we have around us to help create a money flow. And the most amazing thing is that we can't create a flow unless all people involved are part of that flow. When one or more is not causing the money to flow, the flow stops. Because all the flowing money ends up in a private lake. And then that person who owns the lake can decide who can drink and who will be thirsty. Naturally, that lake would have all the water evaporating and returning to the water flow, clouds, rain, and then rivers. So a financial lake like that only maintains itself because lots of money is kept flowing towards it, but not through it. And who do you think keeps the money flowing there? All of us. Because we erroneously believe that's the nature of things. The solution, of course, is to keep the flow away from that person or entity, away from that lake. But we would have to be awake and paying good attention for that, wouldn't we? If we look at nature, there are trees like that lake, you know. The eucalyptus tree, for example, takes control of all the water resources in a circle around it with about 600 meters radius. Can you imagine? 600 meters radius? That's more than 1 kilometer diameter. Imagine a nice forest or a bush field, all green and alive. You plant an eucalyptus tree in the middle of it, and soon after, everything is dry around it because the eucalyptus sucks all the water in the area around it. Obviously, these trees are not mean or anything, they're just what they are. But knowing what they are, we should think twice before planting one of them in our garden. Or in our lives, so to speak. So why would we want a bank agency near us? Everybody's talking about a financial crisis, but I saw the banks having enormous profits every year. Like eucalyptus trees, they know how to spread their roots invisibly underneath us, slowly undermining our companies and economies. And soon after, none of us has any money left, replaced by a lot of debts. And so we all end up paying a lot of money to the banks, to the privately controlled lakes. Back in the fields, we're not sorry for these trees, and we just cut them down to make a good fire. It's all about survival in nature. So why not do the same with banks? We only need them if we have a lot of money to deal with. Remember, we only get paid once a month? Try paying everybody each day. Who would need banks? All we need is a good and healthy money flow. We earn and then we spend. We breathe in and then we breathe out. There's a lot of water going through the river that we don't drink, and still there's enough water all the time. So one way of getting rid of the banks is creating alternative flows, alternative redistribution systems. We all get enough money to pay our debts, and then we all start having enough money for all we want. Because we don't need a lot of money. We just have to make sure it flows freely, always available and around us. So you see, it was very important to make sure that we, the common people, wouldn't realize this, because then we would be free. And how would we be free? In our minds, in the way we dream that life happens, in the concepts we have about life. We usually think that we depend on someone else for money, and that's simply not true. We will soon be publishing a very important video on publicity, and you will see there how we are all manipulated into believing what some want us all to believe, and how we then become available to pay for it. So for now, just keep these important points in mind. The nature of money is flowing, creating a never-ending circular flow of abundance. Second point, we have the capacity to redirect that flow and make sure it stops going through privately controlled lakes, if only we wake up and become aware of the big picture. Third point, we need to receive money more often, less of it each time. Like a healthy way of eating, small meals and more frequent. For that, we need to re-educate ourselves in the way we earn and also in the way we spend. Fourth point, only humans can deal with money, and so it's in our hands to change the way we use it and make it flow. Mother Earth is responsible for floods and dry lands, but only we are responsible for financial deserts. Fifth point, money flows through our circle of relations. If we want abundance in money, we need abundance in relations. That means that if we don't have a social life, we don't have a financial life. Our advice here would be, don't turn your TV off, just sell it and get rid of it. Connect yourself to the real world and start getting independent information from the internet, where information is not manipulated. And finally, sixth point, we receive the money that we dream of receiving. So you have to start dreaming again. You can't just give yourself away to the routine, especially if you already know that you don't like that routine anymore. And no one can tell you what you should be dreaming about. Just ask yourself, what is it that you want and need right now? And you always know the answer. That first dream doesn't have to be very important, because it will simply take you one step closer to the next dream, which at the end will finally get you to the deep dream inside you. And when you dream that dream, you are free and present in this planet, together with all the others also free. That's where we are all moving into. Can you imagine a world where we all have enough money and we are all doing what we really like to do? Can you imagine a world full of happy people with their needs taken care of, naturally, and with no manipulation? Well, if you want to stop being manipulated, then just wake up. That's all the work you have to do, wake up. Take a real good look at things around you and bring yourself from within again, together with your dream. And then your share is done. Someone will look at you and ask you, why do you look so happy? Just tell them that you found an interesting site called the House of Circles and let the videos do all the work. Now go dream yourself for a while. And thank you for watching this.